Hello, welcome to Dr. Devin's Wellness Wednesday workshop, and today's episode is called Goal! We're going to talk about some goals today. Since you have plenty of time to sit around and think about your future, it's time to think about goals. So the first video this week, we're just going to talk about a broad overview of goals, how you find out where you're at so that we can figure out where we're going to go to. So goals are kind of like when you book a trip somewhere. You sit down, you go to Travelocity or Google or whatever, you look for your flight, and then you determine where you're going to go, and then you go there. The first thing you need to know, though, is where you are coming from. So if you live in this area, you're coming from Charlotte. You have to figure out in your life where you are coming from first of all. If you don't know where you're coming from and then figure out where you're going to go to, it's not going to work. You have to know where you're coming from to figure out where you are going to eventually be going to. So, like I said, when you book a flight or you take a road trip, you have to know your starting point, and then you have to know your ending point, and then you plot out how you're going to get there based on those two factors. When my dad used to take us on trips as a kid, he used to get the maps of all the different states, and then he would use a highlighter and highlight the roads he was going to take, where he was going to get off on this exit, and where he was going to go to the next place. That's what we're going to work on with goals over the next few weeks in our Wellness Wednesday workshops. So, first step, figure out where you are coming from. The questions you're going to be asking are, overall in these goals are, 1, where are you? Number 2, where do you want to be? Number 3, where should you be? Where should you be? Ask people around you that love you, friends and family. You should be really close to them by now. And then number 4, could it be better? Could I be better? Could what I'm doing be better? Have some humility. Let go of that ego. Let go of some of that pride so that we can work to make things better. I'm doing these too at the same time that you're doing them. I spent time this morning working on where I am at, so we're all in this together. So you're going to start off with a year in review. Today is tax day, or normally is tax day. It's pushed back a little bit right now. So you're going to do your year in review from last April 15th to this April 15th. Use a journal. I don't care what your journal looks like. I've had multiple journals over the year that I've never ever used, so I decided to use what was close at hand for me, which was my iPad and my Apple Pencil. Those things work best for me because I like electronics, and it will be with me wherever I go. So your journal, it will help bring clarity to your life so you can see where you're at, and then eventually we can find out where we're going to go to. You're going to journal on these 5 or 6 areas, depending on if you need the 6th one. Number 1 is your faith. Your faith should be the most important thing in your life. Number 2 is your relationships with your family, your friends, the people around you, the people you spend time with. Number 3 is your finances. You need to find out if you're being a good steward of the money that God has been giving you and taking care of your finances. If not, I can give you some resources on where to go to help with your finances. We've been working on our finances for the last 12 years, and we had finally just figured out what was going on, and then all this happened, so time to pivot. So that's number 3. Number 4 is your health and your fitness. I've talked about health and fitness extensively over the last year, so it's time to get on it, time to start doing things for your health instead of doing things that hurt your health. Number 5 is your work or your business. If you own your own business or if you're working for somebody, you need to figure out, is that job or is your career or is your business supporting you well and taking care of your family? If not, it's time to pivot and figure out what you can do to help it support you and your family and your goals in life. Again, those goals things we got to figure out. And number 6 is other. If you figure out something else that you really need to focus on and figure out how to get better at, then you can add that anything you want in the other category. So faith, relationships, finances, health and fitness, work and business, and other. other is specific to you. So when you're journaling, you're going to write down for those 6 different areas what worked for you, what are you proud of over the last year, what were your wins. So I really want to know what helped you, or you should really want to know what really helped you, what went well. You're also going to want to write down what didn't work, not necessarily losses, but what you really need to improve on, what you need to focus on this year. What did not make you happy and what did not go well and needs to be better. Basically a needs improvement type of thing in your life. This is your report card for yourself this year. Both wins and needs improvement are equally important in improving your life and improving pretty much everything about what's going on with you in this situation right now. You also need to get some feedback from some loved ones. It's going to be tough, especially when you're all trapped together. So keep working on it. Before you do your journaling, get some movement. Movement wakes up the brain. So stand up, walk around in place, march in place, do some exercises, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, go for a run, walk your dogs, do whatever you have to do to get some movement. Movement wakes up the brain. When your brain is awake, you will think a lot better and you will think a lot more clearly. So get up and do some movement before you do these goals and before you do your journaling. Drink some water. You know, your body, 60 to 70% water. It's kind of helpful for your entire body to drink water. So just drink some water. The third thing, if you use essential oils, which I recommend that you do, some of the best essential oils you can use are so scents, as I've talked about on one of my daily Dr. Devin inspirations. Scents stimulate memory, recall, and help reduce stress. So scents are very important. They get past the blood-brain barrier, and then they get to what's called the amygdala, which is where most of your memories are stored inside of your brain. These essential oils can help wake up your brain's memory centers. Brain power, peppermint, spearmint, and frankincense. Only Young Living, that's all I've ever used, that's all I will ever use, that's all I will ever recommend. So those 4 essential oils: brain power, peppermint, spearmint, and frankincense will wake up your brain centers. Goals are not, this journaling, finding out where you're at, is not about beating yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Your family's going to do that for you when you talk to them. Just kidding. Family, be kind. It's not about beating yourself up. There is grace for you in every single area of your life. You need to give yourself grace. God gives you grace. So it's about getting better. It's not about being perfect. Because when you do your goals, you're going to label each between 1 and 10. 1 is the worst you can be. 10 is the best you can be. I don't want you to give yourself a single 1, and I don't want you to give yourself a single 10, because nobody's perfect and nobody's the worst thing at anything ever. So give yourself grace. After you write down all the goods and bads of everything, all the wins and needs improvements, give yourself a 1 to 10 grading scale on that. So you see what you really, really need to work on and what you need to just keep chugging away at. God's mercies are new every morning. So use those mercies, get by, keep going. But we need to work on making ourselves the best tomorrow that we can. And that starts with today. Where you're at right now with all this stuff that's going on in the world, it's not where you're going to stay. You're either going to improve or you're going to regress. We need to work on making sure that you improve. This valley isn't going to stay a valley. Things will get better again. Let's plan on it. So if you have any questions, send me a direct message. Otherwise, like, comment, and share. And we will see you next week where we'll go over some more goals. And keeping goals, do your journaling, get some movement in, then go do your journaling, 15, 20 minutes quiet. Just think about what you need to write down in here. And remember what I said, give yourself some grace, and we'll see you next week. Bye.